setting is the Prince Abdullah Al Faisal Sports City Stadium in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The semi-final of the AFC Champions League Elite as Machida Zelvia of Japan meet Shabab Al Ahli of the United Arab Emirates. Did you expect it to be them? Did you expect it to be these two? They've believed the whole way through. A shock followed shock, upset upon upset, until suddenly it's no longer a shock, until suddenly it's real. It's one game away, the final of the competition. But is it too real? Is now the time when the nerves jangle? Ollie Hogben here, and I am delighted to be alongside Andy West for a great occasion. Andy, it surprised so many people, and now these two teams are in the semi-final.
Absolutely. Good evening, Ollie, and yes, especially Machida Zelvia. Who would have expected them to be here? A few years ago, they weren't even playing in the top flight in Japan, and now here they are in a continental semi-final. And as you were saying there, the nerves could be a part in this, because for many of these players, this could be the biggest prize that they'll ever play for. The chance to be the Asian champions is an enormous part of their careers, of their lives. So to find themselves here on this stage is something that could be quite daunting for them. And Shabab Al Ahli in particular, they've got a young squad. They don't have individually a lot of experience of playing at this level. Whereas Machida, they're just riding a wave, as they have been for the last 3 or 4 years, as they progress, getting better and better all the time, it seems. So fascinating game coming up. On paper, they seem to be quite well matched. They've never played each other before, so we've got no past history to go from. So it's going to be a fascinating one.
Well, no one's ever played Machida Zelvia before, really, in the context of continental football. That's what's so extraordinary. As you said, won the first title of their professional era when they lifted J2 in 2023. And suddenly, here they are, dominating on the continental stage. It's almost extraordinary. It's almost ridiculous.
Well, it is extraordinary. Not delete the almost there, because plenty of clubs get promoted for the first time in their history, and then they settle. Then maybe they regress to where they were beforehand, but they've just kept going. They finished third in their first season in the top flight. They won the Emperor's Cup as recently as November. So this is a team, a squad, a club that is growing all the time, and in that sense it's only a logical progression that of course they'll beat one of the biggest clubs in Asia, in Saudi Arabia, Al Ittihad, in the quarterfinals to reach this stage. So can they keep going? Can they go beyond here to the final and then even win it? It would be one of the greatest stories of top class football that we've ever seen. A club like Machida Zelvia getting to the final of a continental trophy. But Shabab Al Ahli, they're certainly here to try and get to their first final. I think in 10 years. They were runners-up in 2015. So as a club, they've got a little bit more pedigree, but as I said, it is a young squad, and they'll lean upon the experience of their manager, Paulo Sousa, great player in his time. He's been through all this before, so I'm sure he's prepared his players well mentally.
It's nearly here. The final is one game away. The AFC Champions League Elite. Jeddah 2026, the last stage of the competition. Machida Zelvia from Japan, top performing club in the East region, meet Shabab Al Ahli of the United Arab Emirates. The Red Knights now hoping to make it checkmate as they knock out a Japanese team and make it an all-West final. But this is a Machida Zelvia who few ever believed would be in this situation. A Machida Zelvia, J2 champions, second division winners in 2023. They've gone from strength to strength to strength. They fear no one, and they are right to fear no one. Two managers as different as you can believe. Both 55, one of them a playing legend, a UEFA Champions League winner. One of them, a high school coach who after a quarter of a century became a professional football manager. This is not fantasy, this is reality. Though it may seem far-fetched, it's the AFC Champions League elite.
Yeah, truth can sometimes be stranger than fiction, and that's certainly the case with Machida. Not just the way they've progressed in the last few years, but how they've done it under a coach who, as you said, until his 50s wasn't even a professional, going up today against a great player from Portuguese 21st football history. As you say, won titles galore, played for great clubs, and here they meet in the Prince Abdullah Al Faisal Sports City Stadium for this semi-final. It's a huge occasion for these players, and the first few minutes could be crucial in seeing how the pattern of the game unfolds. Which team is going to be dictating the tempo, controlling the rhythm of the game, and trying to take the game to the opponents.
And the prize is a meeting with Al Ahli Saudi. It's going to be fascinating to see who faces the reigning champions on Saturday. Al Ahli Saudi beating Vissel Kobe by 2-1 in a thrilling match yesterday. The captains Gen Shorji and Federico Catavia lead their teammates down the line and hope to lead them into the final of the AFC Champions League elite. Fine young goalkeeper Corse Tani makes his 11th continental appearance for Machida Zelvia today. His head coach is from Japan's northernmost prefecture, Hokkaido, as is midfielder number 16 Hiroyuki Mai, a big part of their disciplined game. The only change from the previous match sees number 7 Yuki Soma take the place of number 10 Na Sang-ho, who drops to the bench but who will be likely to feature tonight. Machida Zelvia, sporting the blue colours associated with the flower, the salvia, which is partly how they acquired their name. And the Red Knights, led by their captain, Federico Catavia. With stewardship over this match, Sean Evans from Australia, from Melbourne, who's been a video assistant referee at the World Cup and also has refereed at the AFC Asian Cup. He was a bricklayer before becoming a full-time referee. That's how he built his career, on very firm foundations.
Very good, Ollie, and an important occasion, of course, for the referees, because I expect this to be a tight game, so those small margins of decisions could be crucial.
In goal for Shabab Al Ahli is Hamad Al Mekbali, a product of the youth team who gets better by the year. In the midfield, number 6, Iranian Saeed Etatolahi, has scored in both knockout stage matches and has looked hugely important to the cause. Just one change has been made by Paulo Sousa, bringing in number 21 Sultan Adil up front for Brazilian Atursao, who's on the bench. Not that there's a shortage of Brazilians on the pitch today, 6 of them for the Emirati team.
And one thing that's notable about Shabab Al Ahli is that they don't just rely on one player for their goals. As you say, the changes up front with Mateo Sao dropped to the bench, where we see instead Sultan Adil come in. He hasn't scored yet in the tournament, so they don't just rely on the strikers to score. All of the midfielders more than capable of chipping in.
We are moments away. What experience. And what a team he has. And what a story he has. More on that in a moment. The very warmest of welcomes to you indeed, wherever you're watching from and whoever you're supporting in this meeting between Machida Zelvia and Shabab Al Ahli of Japan and the United Arab Emirates respectively in the AFC Champions League Elite. The semi-final stage, it is Shabab Al Ahli in possession. Ollie Hopman here, and I'm thrilled to be working alongside Andy West, bringing you this match. Andy, what do you expect tactically?
I think it'll be quite tight, especially in the early stages. I don't think either team will want to give anything away. They're both teams that are built on firm defensive foundations. Shabab Al Ahli have only conceded 11 goals in 22 games domestically. That shows their strength. And Machida Zelvia, 3 consecutive clean sheets in this competition. But set pieces, and here's a very timely early example for us just as I'm talking, set pieces will be crucial, and they include long throws, because as we're seeing here, Kotaro has a deadly long throw into the box.
Kotaro Hayashi from Kyushu Island, southwest of Japan, sends that right into the centre, and he'll do that a lot over the course of this match. It's Hayashi again, and the goalkeeper gathers well. Good young keeper, Hamad Al-Mekbali, just 22.
Yeah, it was a very good take as well. That was a difficult one, but concerning that he and Bogdan Planic have combined, and Planic clearly in a lot of pain. That is a worry for Shabab Al Ahli, not just to have an early injury, but because of the leadership that he gives. The 34-year-old, he's the oldest member of the team. He gives that leadership in the centre of defence, so he would be a big loss. You just have to hope that this is something he can run off. Getting a bit of the magic spray on there from the physio. Hopefully that'll work for him.
The 34-year-old is from the west of Serbia. Joined the club from Maccabi Haifa several years ago. And as you say, lots of experience. Over 50 matches played in continental competitions. Let's have a look back at how it happened.
Well, it was a separate incident, wasn't it? I thought at first maybe it was goalkeeper and defender colliding, but no, I think Planic maybe just had his foot trodden on accidentally. But that is painful, and let's just hope it's a blow that he can run off rather than something more serious like a bone fracture, which would have to be replaced. You just saw the physio there signalling to the bench, the hand up in a wait gesture to say we'll see. We don't yet know if he's going to have to be substituted. But important as well for his size. We see he's big, he's strong, and up against Machida's striker Tete Yengi, who is enormous. He's 6'6". You need someone with the physical stature of Planic to try to combat him. So yeah, we'll see. It's looking dicey at the moment, but Planic, they'll give him every opportunity to return.
Much to contemplate for Paulo Sousa. Just see him at the bottom of the screen, the hugely experienced head coach of Shabab Al Ahli. His 13th post, his first in the Middle East. What a career he had as a player.
Absolutely, yeah. Former Portugal international, very classy midfielder. But a very different challenge for him to come here to Saudi football, and how well he's done to lead the team to 3 titles in his first season. Won the League, the Cup and the Super Cup, and now looking to add obviously the Continental crown as well, taking over one of the biggest clubs in the UAE, and immediately not just winning, but winning in the style that he wants to propose, and obviously with the strong links to his native tongue, with all the Brazilians in the squad. You know that Portuguese is the language of the dressing room.
He's a sharp contrast to Gor Kuroda, the head coach of Machida Zelvia, who until 2023 was Kuroda Sensei, in charge of the football programme at Aomori Yamada High School. 28 years he looked after that team, led them to several national titles. He started as a teacher at the school when he was 25. Quite remarkable.
Well, staying in the same job, whatever you do in any walk of life, for 28 years is quite an achievement. But in the cutthroat world of sport, it shows how successful you are, and school sport is important in Japan, isn't it? It has a high profile. So for him to enjoy that success explains how he was then able to move into the professional game.
That's quite correct. The national football tournaments in Japan, just as the national baseball tournaments for high schools, are hugely popular. They're well watched on television, as there's an opportunity now for Machida Zelvia with the imposing figure of Yengi. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, well, Planic is back out there after that early injury, but he is hobbling. He doesn't look comfortable, and you can see Paulo Sousa. I wonder if that slightly frustrated expression was at the physical condition of his centre-back, who's got more work to do here. 6 minutes in, we're seeing the second long bomb into the penalty area from the arms of Kotaro.
Kotaro Hayashi once again. Those imposing long throws and imposingly dealt with. The captain is having a go there against Shoji, who's never scored in continental competition.
Well, I think that was one that the ball was getting away from him because his first touch was a little bit heavy, so he felt, I just have to hit this now, because he didn't want to risk allowing the opponents to go on the counter-attack. Probably got a little bit lucky to win the corner in the end, but more threat from Machida, and they've certainly settled more quickly into this game.
Yuki Soma will take this corner kick. He's the only change to the starting lineup from the previous match. Very useful wide player. And here he is, Soma. That's nicely worked with Hiroyuki Mai. Tricky touch there for Yuri. But now here comes the potential for a counter-attack, and it could be a very purposeful one from Shabab Al Ahli. Number 80 is Breno, who's been playing very well. 31 is Kawan.
Yeah, not a very convincing shot in the end from Kawan Santos, but a positive first attack from Shabab Al Ahli, and they needed it because they've been forced on the back foot in the opening few minutes, hadn't been able to get out of their own half, so good for them to get on the run and just take the game to Machida. Yeah, he didn't look particularly comfortable taking on the shot, not much conviction there, but they'll be pleased to settle into the game and have a first attack. You see the applause from the coach.
Such a big Brazilian core in the team. Obviously the Lusophonic connection with their head coach, Portuguese Paulo Sousa, sharing a language. Brazilian playing for Machida Zelvia in Eric from the northeast of the country. And interesting to note that Machida, which is in the greater Tokyo area, is known as the Brazil of Tokyo.
And going up against a team with a majority of Brazilians today, and that goes back decades, doesn't it, to the strong passion for football in the city, and of course Brazil, world renowned as the protagonist of the beautiful game. But Brazilian football as well, interestingly, isn't only about flair and creativity. If you watch South American football, you can see it. Sometimes it's pretty brutal. It's very physical as well, and that's something that Machida have been able to fuse those two elements of football: the technical prowess, but also the toughness. They've taken that perhaps from the Brazilian influence,
and they've certainly taken it from Mr. Kuroda and the intensity that he has brought to the team. He's not without a little controversy in terms of his managerial methods. There is a phrase in Japanese pedagogy called Ai no Muchi. It means the whip of love, and it's used to describe a rather stern schoolmaster. He remains a rather stern schoolmaster even as a head coach. Schoolmasterly
kind of conduct on the sidelines. Tough love, I think we'd translate that as, wouldn't we? That you've got to be cruel to be kind sometimes, and instill, especially when you're a team that's playing against the odds, you've got to instill that kind of discipline and hard-headedness almost. And you know, it's probably not a coincidence that inside the opening 10 minutes here, we've already seen 3 Shabab Al Ahli players going to the ground, grimacing in pain. They're not a comfortable team to play against. That's obvious from the fact that the last 3 games in this competition have all been clean sheets. They've just beaten Al Ittihad, one of the giants of the continent, 1-0. They did need a bit of luck, a couple of shots against the woodwork, but they're not easy to play against. And that's been reflected in these opening 10 minutes when they've certainly been the better team.
And they are taking on, in Shabab Al Ahli, a team who has conceded fewer goals domestically than anyone else in the country. Only 11 they've let past them. They might let one past them here if this ball is of quality. It just went over the top of Otaka Nakamura.
Yeah, and he wasn't really the prime target. It should have been directed towards the head of Tete Yengi. I've mentioned him briefly. And there's another injury. That's a fourth already for Shabab Al Ahli. They know they're in for a physical confrontation by now, don't they? I think they would have known it already. He would have prepared his players for exactly what was coming up today. But Tete Yengi, 6'6", he's enormous. He's a big physical presence. He's made a big impact since joining earlier this year. It's not been long that he's been with the club. 3 goals in 5 appearances in this competition. Give him something to attack there. Don't send it over his head. Play it into him. He can be the main threat in the air.
There is number 25, Igor Gomez.
Well, they're just ticking their way through the opponents, aren't they? We've had Planic down, then it was Saeed, then I think Yuri Cesar, and now Igor Gomez. If you're one of the other players, you'd be like, oh, it's my turn next.
And Paulo Sousa was asked before the match, how's the condition of the players? And he said, honestly, not so good for some of them. They've had to play a lot of football. They are a little tired.
Yeah, it's the same for both teams, though. And
oh, my goodness. It's been lost and it's been put in. And that was awful for poor Bogdan Planic, who was in real pain early on. Well, he's in even more pain now, as the only change from the previous match, Yuki Soma, has justified his place, and it's 1-0 to Machida Zelvia.
And a catastrophe for Shabab Al Ahli in a game that we expected to be tight, not many goals. Every opportunity is crucial, and what you don't want to be doing is giving them away out of nothing. And there you can see Planic taking full accountability for it, hand on the chest saying, that's on me, that's my responsibility. And exactly as you said straight away, you have to wonder how much of it has to do with his physical condition. He's still not looking comfortable after that early injury. A very loose touch. And look at him hobbling as he's trying to run back. I wonder how much longer he's going to be able to stay out there. Well finished, though. Still had work to do, Yuki Soma. And he did it very calmly for his 4th goal in the competition this season.
It's a cruel moment, that for Bogdan Planic, and it has to be looked at in the context of that early stumble that he took.
It has to be, yeah. It took a couple of minutes before coming back onto the field. He's still not moving freely. And, yeah, that could well be a decisive moment, the decisive moment in the game. Very early to say that, but when you consider the last 3 games for Machida, 0-0, 1-0, 1-0, here they are, 1-0 again. They are a team that knows how to win from here. They don't need to create lots of chances. They don't need to score 4 goals to win a game. They are well organised, very disciplined, hard to play against, as we've said. They're physical, as Yengi takes the physical challenge from Lavi this time. But Machida, it's been a perfect start for them. Most of the game has been played in the opposition half. They've not allowed Shabab Al Ahli to settle and play any part of passes. There was one brief attack on the counter-attack, and of course they've got the lead now. They were gifted it, but they've got themselves in front. And right now, you have to say, the fairy tale continuing for a club that wasn't even playing top-flight football 3 years ago.
It is loose, it is lost, and is just about saved by Hamad Al-Mekbali. What an awkward moment for Shabab Al Ahli.
And what he did really well there, the goalkeeper, was to push it away from him. If he'd just stopped it as he fell to his left, Yengi was there, right on him, so he had to push it away. That is something that goalkeepers are trained to do. When you go down to make a save, you don't just stop it, you push it away from goal. That was crucial, otherwise Yengi would have had a tap-in, so really good goalkeeping. And how crucial that was, talking about how difficult it's going to be for Shabab Al Ahli to come from behind against this Machida team. To have to get 2 back against them would have been a huge task. So, yeah, the goalkeepers really kept their chances alive there. It
is a tale of 2 bright young goalkeepers, this match. Ahmad Al-Mekbali and Kosei Tani at the other end, 25-year-old from Osaka in the west of Honshu, Japan's largest island. Kosei Tani is an Olympian from his home games. Eric, wearing number 27 for Machida Zelvia, huge part of Ange Postecoglou's Yokohama F. Marinos when they won the J1 title about 6-7 years ago. That extraordinary Marinos team who played such beautiful, dangerous football, dangerous to opponents, dangerous to themselves sometimes, but they were a joy to watch.
Just looking at the setup for Shabab Al Ahli, interesting that Fede Cartabia, who wears the number 10 and is a number 10, he's a creator, he's playing more on the right-hand side, where Yuri Cesar, we expected to be holding the left flank. He's playing in the middle as a support striker for Sultan Adil, so trying different things, and Bala, we see here the number 77 on the ball now, he's the one filling the left-hand role where he would often play on the right. So just trying to do something different, maybe to unsettle Machida and make them feel a bit uncomfortable, working out, okay, who's got who, how do we cover this space when the opposition players aren't exactly where we would have expected them to be. Well, this is the first time in the game now, 17 minutes in, first time in the game that Shabab Al Ahli have been able to string a few passes together.
And they have got the players, haven't they, Andy, to use in a flexible way, creative players in attack.
They have, yeah, and it starts with the captain, Fede Cartabia, very experienced Argentine, 33 years old now. He can create, he can score, he can pass. So he's the one they want to get on the ball more than anyone else. He's frustrated there with that pass he was asked to chase. But the captain will have to be the one to try and lift his team now, because they need a lift. It's just not gone their way at all at the moment. We're going to see again here that the save, it was a good attempt by Eric, because the ball was tight under his feet, so he did well to scoop it goalwards. But look again here how he pushes it away, quite deliberately, flicking his left hand out, because you could see Tete Yangi right on top of him there, waiting for a loose ball if he'd only just palmed it.
We've seen that, I think, 4 times now, and it's a better save every time we see it.
Yeah, it's not the fact that he got his hand to it, it's how he got his hand to it. That was the thing that goalkeepers train, and you know, you made the point earlier, he's only young, he's only 22, which is, for goalkeepers, unusual. Goalkeepers normally blossom at a later age. So impressively done by him.
Welcome if you're just joining this contest. Machida Zelvia 1, Shabab Al Ahli 0. The semi-final of the AFC Champions League Elite 2025-2026. With Saturday, the final of the entire competition. This great competition that brings together the West and East regions of Asia. Diverse and enormous footballing continent. And Al Ahli Saudi, the champions from last year, are waiting and watching every minute of this to see who they'll face.
Yeah, feet up in the team hotel, relaxing with an extra day to prepare, looking forward to the chance to return to their home stadium again for the final on Saturday, trying to become back-to-back champions. First time that's happened, or if it does happen, it will be the first time in more than 20 years, so they will be more interested spectators than anyone.
Number 50 is Daihachi Okamura from Tokyo, and Machida itself is part of the greater Tokyo area, the largest metropolitan area in the world. 430,000 people live there in the beautiful Tama Hills. You've still got the remains of the ancient Jomon era hunter-gatherer settlement. So although it's a huge urban modern place now, it's very much grounded in Japanese antiquity.
Now we can see Machida's mindset here. All 10 outfield players back around their penalty area.
And there is the biggest of them all. Still, there is danger, and it's nodded away. Firstly by Nakamura, then played away by Nakayama.
But exactly as you pointed out, Tete Yengi was the centre forward, was the one making the defensive clearance. And, you know, that's part of why he's been signed. They play in a certain way, they want a certain profile of player. And when you join those dots, it makes sense that they sign a 6'6" centre forward who can help out defensively for set pieces. They're not a team that's going to leave a couple of players forward looking for an out ball when they clear it. They just want to defend their penalty area, be secure, and then move on to the next phase of play.
And we look again at this goal from Yuki Soma, taking the ball away from Bogdan Planic.
Yeah, despair for the Shabab Al Ahli coach and fans, of course, after that catastrophic touch from Planic. But credit to Soma, the goal scorer. What he did well there was take it early. He could have tried to take a third touch to get around the goalkeeper, but that might have allowed defenders to get back. Might have been a loose touch to take him away from goal. He didn't hesitate, took one touch to control, the next to finish. He was very decisive and put it away well.
Well, a tough start for the Red Knights. Shabab Al Ahli, based in Dubai. Great global city, great sporting city.
I mean, it has been a tough start. We see here how they're struggling to find passes out. And one of the reasons for that is the 3 or 5 man defence that Machida are playing with. They've got 3 central defenders and then the 2 wide players, Hotaka and Kotaro. They either play as a fullback or they'll push forward on the opposing fullback if it stops them from coming out. So they can either have a 3-man line at the back. Here's the right-sided wing-back, Hotaka. And that does make them difficult to build against, because they always seem to have an extra man. That 3-man line at the back, whereas most teams play with 4, gives you an extra player elsewhere on the field, which they're using to great effect just to push Shabab Al Ahli back, not allow them to build out from defence.
So what then does Shabab Al Ahli do?
Move the ball more quickly, and you might need one of the defenders to be brave, perhaps Renan, to break forward from the back and beat that overload that Machida have, the numerical overload, provide an extra body in midfield so that they can't just cover everybody.
In possession is Bogdan Planic.
You see here, Igor Gomez, just the left back, moving inside. He's now one of the furthest players forward, the number 25 for Shabab Al Ahli. That's the kind of thing they need to do. The ball hasn't gone that way, but that obviously draws attention. The ball went towards him. It wasn't the right pass to play in the end because he was covered by another midfielder, but that's the kind of thing. Be a bit more inventive with your positioning just to try and pull Machida out of their shape.
We look over the shoulder of Igor Gomez from Rio de Janeiro, one of the world's great cities, host city of the Olympic Games in 2016, then passed the baton on to Tokyo, where so many of these Machida Zelvia players grew up. Definite tug on number 57, Yuri.
Yeah, the referee let it go though, and the players will be looking at that and thinking, okay, so this is the level of permissiveness that the referee will allow. Every referee's different in the kind of contact they will allow or not, but as long as they're consistent, the players know where they are. Here's a good break for Tete Yengi.
A lot of space for Nakamura as well on the right. To control it, and it does give a little time perhaps for Shabab Al Ahli to get back, but a dangerous looking break there, Andy.
It was, and that's the danger that Shabab Al Ahli faces. I was saying how positionally they'll need to be a bit brave, and you can see Paulo Sousa don't know who he exactly is gesturing to there, but it's about the positioning. You could see the way he was moving his fingers. When they push players further forward to try to break that overload that Machida have, then that leaves space in behind them, and that's where the Japanese team, if they can be brave on the break and precise in the break, could create more chances.
He's one to really watch out for, number 88, Hotaka Nakamura, bursting down the right flank. Very physically fit player, fast player, very bright young gentleman as well. Went to Meiji University, one of the top academic institutions in Japan.
Well, he has to be physically fit, onto your point there. That wing-back role, you have to be able to do an incredible amount of running because you're effectively covering two positions. He's on the ball there, acting as a winger, and he'll often have to go back, acting as a defender.
Eric to Yengi. We'll go back to Tete Yengi. He's been fairly dispossessed by Guilherme Bala, who was strong, as you have to be to get the ball away from Yengi.
And again, the referee being consistent, 2 more challenges there. He's not blown the whistle.
Goal scorer Soma. Is it as you expected?
Yes, in terms of it's tight, there aren't many chances, but Machida are more dominant than I expected. I thought it would be a more even contest, but certainly the Japanese team have been very good value for the lead in terms of the balance of play and how comfortable they look on the field. This is exactly going the way that Go Kuroda would have dreamt of in his planning for the game, and he was planning. There was meticulous planning involved in this game, even though he only had 3 days to know who the opponents were and to fully prepare his players. They will have been through school masterly lessons in their preparation. He will have sat them down, gone through video, got them to know exactly what to expect.
He's spoken about how the players have backed him since the moment he took over, how the fans have backed him. He said after winning the Japanese second division, they stuck with him, those players, without a single complaint, and he had nothing but gratitude for them. So he's tough, but he also knows how to command loyalty.
And that's the key. If you're tough and the players don't respect you, then they go their own way and you get fractures in the squad, and you don't get on the field what you want from the players. So he clearly does have that respect from them.
Shabab Al Ahli, we haven't mentioned his name really so far, but he's been a big performer for the club in the knockout stage and indeed this season, the Iranian.
Yeah, I think the only time we've mentioned him so far was when he was injured early on, needed a little break after a clash of heads. He's not been able to get on the ball at all, and the same with Breno in midfield there, the number 80 putting in that challenge. They've not been able to control the ball in midfield and start pulling some strings.
Is this the chance to turn it all around? Here's Breno. He's been having a super season. Guilherme Bala nearly skipped away, but it's well covered by Nakamura, demonstrating that movement in attack and defence.
Yeah, but that was the best moment of the match so far for Shabab Al Ahli. It didn't lead to a chance, but quick passing and movement, that's what they have to do. It was the old Liverpool mantra, pass and move. That's what they have to do to keep Machida, to knock them out of their stride and make them feel uncomfortable.
Captain Federico Caltabia, this corner kick, capable of splendid deliveries. It is a good delivery, but it's really well defended, and it's him again, Yengi.
There's a rather ambitious penalty appeal from a referee that we know already is going to be quite permissive. Yengi maybe did have a bit of a hold of Saeed's shirt, but no, that's not going to be a penalty. But set piece is very important for Shabab Al Ahli. All 3 of their goals against Buriram coming from set pieces.
Just beyond the half-an-hour mark. Here's Kartabia's ball, and again it's well dealt with, that time by Gen Shorji, the captain. Kartabia once more. These are dangerous looking balls.
They are, and they've not been able to clear their lines. Here's another one.
Kartabia trying to control it. Two captains dueling, and it was struck by Adil, Sultan Adil.
Yeah, the addition to the starting lineup today. Somewhat surprisingly, the 21-year-old yet to score in this season's competition. Matteo Sau dropping to the bench, but see there, Kusaitani urging his defenders to keep concentrating. That is obviously key for them. I don't think they'll have any problem with that. That is part of their DNA, to be focused, be diligent.
This time he goes short, it's Yuri, and it's blocked. Kartabia caught, he thinks so. The referee has said on we go with advantage played.
Yeah, good advantage. They still had the chance to put the ball in the area. The game comes to nothing.
Bogdan Planic may be looking a little more comfortable now, but only he knows how he's really feeling.
Well, he'll be feeling sick in his stomach, even if his foot's okay now, knowing that the only goal in the game was a result of his basic error, a loose touch, a soft pass that allowed Yuki Soma to steal in and convert. For me, he's still not looking like he's moving with total freedom. But this has been better the last 2 or 3 minutes for Shabab Al Ahli.
Space for Kartabia. His decision is to release the ball, and that should be comfortable. It is for Korsetani from Guilherme Bala.
Yeah, he's got that ability to take on a shot, though, and that's more the positioning. I mentioned the positioning earlier. When Bala was on the left wing, Kartabia was on the right. This was where we more expect to see them. Kartabia springing things from a central position, Bala looking to attack from the right. But you can see they've left numbers slight at the back. Well, it's gone back into midfield now, but that is going to be an interesting thing to watch out for as the game goes on. How much do Shabab Al Ahli chase it? Because obviously the more they do so, the more they expose themselves defensively.
They cover ground impressively, don't they, the Machida Zelvia players?
It's like they all move together. There's such great synchronicity to the way they play. That collective organisation, that certainly is a foul by Yuri Cesar. But yeah, it's almost as though they're connected by invisible string, isn't it? When one moves, it pulls everyone else with him. They never look out of shape.
And if you're feeling a touch fatigued, if you're feeling a step behind things after long, demanding matches, the last person you want coming up against you is Hotaka Nakamura.
Yeah, just keeps on running. He's been impressive, hasn't he? In these early stages, we've seen a lot of him, both ends defensively, and they're leading the attack, which has given them this free kick now. Sorry, I was just to say it's going to be an in-swinging ball, and there's the man. It's going to be Yengi who will beat the target.
Daihachi Okamura has come forward with him as well. Doesn't matter though, because he's gone straight into Kartabia. He was absolutely on his own. Now he has Guilherme Bala. I think safe to say not the most effective set piece that Machida Zelvia have ever delivered in their life, because here's Kawan, a chance to shoot, he's hit the bar.
Great attempt, shifted it onto his right foot. He's the right back, but they were able to stream forward after Fede Kartabia blocked the free kick and found himself on the left-hand side. It came off his back, I think, and then obviously stronger on his right foot. Hit it beautifully, didn't he? The 21-year-old looking for his second goal in this season's AFC Champions League Elite, and he was inches away. Very unlucky, and the closest by far that Shabab Al Ahli have come so far. And that's a rare example of Machida being forced out of their shape because, of course, of the poor free kick and the swiftness of the attack. And as you said, Fede Kartabia broke. There was absolutely no one near it, but he broke at pace, and that was important because it kept Machida out of their defensive shape. Didn't allow them time to settle.
Kawan has scored 4 times in the league this season, so he certainly can finish.
Yeah, one of the many Brazilians and one of the many young players. It is a young squad. I think there's 5 players in the team today, 22 or younger. He's just 21.
Now Yuki Soma will take this free kick with around 10 or so minutes, plus a little more, one imagines, until the half-time interval. The goalkeeper has to make a decision. He read it well, punched it clear, and it's...
I think it's Planic
It is,
again.
isn't it? Yes.
A different kind of collision for him this time. That was not a pleasant one to watch because they were moving in different directions at full speed toward each other. A very heavy collision, and this time it looks like the ribs for Planic. Good, brave goalkeeping though, coming into a crowd and fisting it away. Got good distance on the clearance as well. It's very good goalkeeping, but at the expense of his teammate. Poor old Planic. He's had a half hour to forget here. Early injury, then a terrible mistake for the only goal, and now he's got absolutely taken out. Totally inadvertently, of course, by his goalkeeper. He's a tough cookie, Bogdan Planic, but we'll have to see if he can get up from this. And the goalkeeper as well, Almek Bali, he looks less than comfortable, and the danger with him is that as he was punching the ball away, his arms were exposed. If he's hurt his shoulder, as we see again the opening goal, that mistake from Planic. If Almek Bali has hurt his shoulder, perhaps on landing or colliding with Planic, that could be a big problem.
For Bogdan Planic, what was particularly alarming was the way his head just seemed to rattle around as he firstly was collided with and then as he landed. So a couple of potential head injury issues there that naturally they have to follow all protocols.
He's been in the wars, hasn't he? He's back up on his feet again though. He'll probably be grateful that we're 8 minutes away from the break now. And Shabab Al Ahli need the break really. It's going to be an interesting half-time for Paulo Sousa to try and find a way back into this game for his team. We saw it yesterday. We saw Vissel Kobe, the Japanese team, dominating the first half, leading 1-0 at the break before another team called Al Ahli came back. Will history repeat itself a day later?
Yui. It's now with Kartabia. And if you are wondering why there are so many teams in this part of the world with the name Al Ahli, it is because it means domestic or national in Arabic. No foul on Guilherme Bala. He is in discomfort.
Again, the permissive style of the referee. Players should know that now, that if there's a slight contact, he's not going to just give them a free kick. And as long as they know where they stand, that's great. Don't think that the Shabab Al Ahli delegates agree necessarily.
Oh, just a bit of a miscommunication went behind Kartabia. Here's Yengi. Holds it well. He'll drift in towards the penalty mark. It doesn't look as though Machida Zelvia are a team with no experience at this sort of level. If you had to pick which team understood how to play big semi-finals, you'd go, oh, it's Machida Zelvia. They must have done this a million times before.
Yeah, they're playing with great structure, great purpose, and threatening again.
Really are just going straight at the defenders. That is a penalty kick.
Well, we'd said the referee is permissive, he's letting things go. He's not let that go, so no doubt it will be reviewed. But the Shabab Al Ahli players for now can't believe it. It was a very good run into the penalty area by Yuki Sommer, scored the goal. Yeah, and I think there was a trip there, wasn't there, from Kartabia. Didn't make contact with the ball. And Sommer was quicker than him to get goal side. Drew the contact, and for me, yeah, I don't see why that would be overturned.
Paulo Sousa said before the game that he knew the great strength of Machida Zelvia, other than, in his words, their passion, their organisation, was the wide players, that pace they had on the wing, and their
speed.
Yes,
that's what he said. The width and speed, both of those things to the fore there with the run from Yuki Sommer, cutting inside from the left. And so we'll see. Sean Evans, the on-field referee, has given it. Sivakon Fudom, the VAR official, will be checking it. And maybe he has seen enough to put doubt into his mind at least, and see if it does the same for Sean Evans now.
interesting. He's going to review this.
Well, there was contact. Not with the ball. Kartabia doesn't touch the ball. He does put his left foot across the front of Sommer, and he catches him. Now, the only reason the referee would change his decision here is if he wants to maintain the generally permissive approach that he'd been following in the first 40 minutes or so, but there is contact there. And the next thing for Yuki Sommer was to play the ball into the penalty area, across goal. Here's the decision.
Gosh, it's
Well,
been overturned.
yeah, it's a little bit surprising, I must say, because there wasn't any contact with the ball. He makes contact with the right foot of the man. I don't know what he's seen there to overturn the decision, other than perhaps thinking, I'm allowing the game to go. I'm not giving little fouls. I'm not giving half fouls. And maybe he thought, on reflection, that's not enough for the kind of decision I want to make. But yeah, he was in great position to see it originally. He immediately whistled, pointed to the spot. There was no hesitation then. So honestly, I'm not sure what he's seen, other than my only speculation could be he only wants to give fouls that are really unquestionable fouls. You could argue that was as well, but it's a big break for Shabab Al Ahli, because 2 down at half-time would have been a long way back into this game for them.
There will be some who are delighted, and there will be many who are mystified by that video review process. I'll leave you watching at home to decide which you are.
And what's important now is that Machida don't allow themselves to become distracted by that. The good thing for the coach is that they've only got a couple of minutes. Well, we'll have a fair bit of added time as well, but they haven't got long before the break when he can refocus them and say, forget that. Forget the fact that you felt you should have had a penalty. Keep playing the game.
And that is a good pullback from Guilherme Bala. Did he keep it in play? Yes.
He did. He did very well to do so as well. And it was actually well defended at the near post. The defender going with the run of Sultan Adil, so that he didn't have an easy finish. I'm not sure it actually did stay in, so it would have obviously been looked at had it been a goal. But they do get a corner out of it, and they probably wouldn't look at it now if they score. A change in taker as well, not Kartabia this time, going for the in-swinger.
So it will be the 25-year-old Brazilian, born Huri. Huri's ball is a slightly tricky one. There's a player down, it's Shabab Al Ahli, and it's in the arms of Tani. Another comfortable one for the goalkeeper, but not comfortable for that gentleman.
Second time today he's been down with a head injury, Saeed. And it doesn't seem to be any appealing for a penalty here. Try and pick him out in that scrum. Well, he was caught by Tete Yengi. just on the left of the screen there, the arm across from the big Australian forward. I don't think there's anything in that. That was just an honest run, trying to get in line with the ball as it came across. Caught him around the throat, but I think it'll be okay. 5 minutes have been added. It has been a disjointed first half. That suits Machida, of course. They don't want the game to flow. They don't want it to be open and up and down. They're perfectly happy if the game stops every 30 seconds or so. And what's impressive, you made the point a few minutes ago, Ollie, is just how comfortable they look on this stage. We're talking about a continental semi-final here for a club that, we've told the story already, but it's worth repeating. Until 3 years ago, they weren't even in the top flight in Japan. And they finished third in their first season, and they won the Emperor's Cup. Now look at them here in the semi-final of the AFC Champions League Elite. It's not easy to do that. It's anything but easy. But they look so composed throughout it, as though it is just natural for them to be here and performing on this stage, controlling the game.
Probably helps a great deal that the captain, Gen Shoji, is a winner of this competition in 2018 with the Antlers. So he has doubtless been able to pass on a lot of experience, a lot of wise words to some of the players who are so much newer to this sort of occasion. Now, into additional time. Is there going to be an opportunity here? There certainly is. Seen wide by Kosei Tani from Breno. He's having the best season of his career.
It was well hit, and he's got, as you say, best season of his career. He scored 4 goals in 9 games in this competition from midfield. And that was good technique. Just sliced it a little bit with his left foot, which meant it was curling away from goal, but he hit it with power. Another of the talented young Brazilians, only 22, is Breno. But a decent effort, one of their best opportunities so far. And you feel they're going to have to take one of these. They're not necessarily going to get many chances. So when they do, they need to make them pay. We were watching the other semi-final yesterday. Come back to that in a moment.
Well, yes, because Yengi, always a threat with a bouncing ball like that. With his physical presence, he's done really well. Here's Eric. Didn't have a huge number of options, was looking for Yuki Soma, but as you were saying...
Yeah, disappointing cross in the end. But yes, yesterday, with the Vissel Kobe game against Al Ahli, I think we said it during the game, it feels like Vissel Kobe need a second, but they weren't going to be able to win it 1-0. Machida are more than capable of winning this game 1-0. There might not be many clear chances for Shabab Al Ahli, as there haven't been in this first half. It's been sporadic. Their attacking threat, it's not been particularly coherent. Their attacking play, they've had to force chances rather than create them.
Yes, if ever there is a team that you would back to get over the disappointment of not getting a penalty kick that they were quite convinced was a penalty kick, it's this team.
Yes, that mental resilience to just move on with the game. And it hasn't affected them, has it? A lot of other teams having been given and then denied a penalty that looked pretty clear. Certainly it was a controversial decision to revoke the initial award of the penalty. A lot of teams would have spent the next few minutes complaining at the ref, looking, you know, the shoulders would drop, the body language would be frustrated, negative. They've just resumed as though it never happened.
And I'll tell you who also would behave like that, and that's a successful Japanese high school team.
Yeah, well, if they have the right guidance from their teacher coach, which is what Gokuroda is done, as you said, for 25 years, working at the same school, and now transitioning seamlessly into professional football. And on the brink of half-time now, looks like they're going to take a lead into the break. They deserve it. Something's going to have to change in the second half for Shabab Al Ahli.
Last possibility of an attack here for the Red Knights. They've got Yuri down. They've got Breno in possession. got very little to write home about in terms of clear chances in this first half, and that is to the credit of this outsider Japanese team, who are barely even known in a widespread way in their own country.
And look there at Kotaro immediately running out from the back five, sprinting out to close down Katabia so that he couldn't easily advance down the wing. And now there he back is in that defensive line to make another challenge, to bring the end to a quite appropriate close. A tackle from Machida winning the ball.
1-0 to Machida Zelvia. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, we've heard it in the last round and the round before that, and we might be hearing it in the final on Saturday, who knows. Great job done so far by that man's team.
A lot still to come though. I hope you're enjoying this contest so far. The second half will be with us in due course. It's the AFC Champions League Elite, the semi-final stage, as Machida Zelvia lead 1-0 over Shabab Al Ahli at half-time. Contest is about to resume, and it is absolutely intriguingly set up. A lot still to come as we are ready to embark upon the second half. A narrow advantage for Machida Zelvia.
And a narrow advantage might be all they need. They're very, very good at defending what they have. And they have the lead thanks to Yuki Sommer early on, capitalising on the error by Bogdan Planic. And for that man, Paulo Sousa, it's be fascinating to know what he's told his players in the last 10 minutes or so, how he's going to try to get them back into this game, both mentally and tactically, because they've had it tough so far. You can tell by his expression, he looks a little bit shell-shocked, as the players have been. They've just not been able to get their way into this game. They would have known what was coming. They would have studied Machida, of course. They would have known exactly how tough an opponent they are to play against. And all of that has been proven out so far. So we'll see if things can change in the second half.
They've been so impressive. Machida Zelvia, very disciplined, very cohesive, and very untroubled by the scale of this occasion.
They've totally taken it in their stride. You'd never know that this was the first continental semi-final the club has ever appeared in, and the same for nearly all of the players. They look very at ease, and that is to do with knowing exactly what their jobs are, individually and collectively, knowing how they're going to confront the game, and having a clear understanding of what is expected of them.
Welcome everyone to the Prince Abdullah Al Faisal Sports City Stadium in Jeddah. Machida Zelvia 1, Shabab Al Ahli 0 at the half-time stage of the AFC Champions League Elite semi-final. Who goes on to meet Al Ahli Saudi on Saturday? It might have been an all-Japanese final, but they got past Vissel Kobe. Now Machida Zelvia seek to ensure an East presence in this continental final. And
immediately in the second half, Daihachi there no qualms in making the foul. That's okay. They back themselves to defend it.
The big question really for Shabab Al Ahli is, well, we'll come back to it because they might be about to answer it there. I was about to say, the question is, how do they impose themselves more? How do they trouble Corse Tani more? Quality delivery helped.
Quality delivery helps, and Fede Cartabia is the main man capable of providing that with his cultured left foot. And that was a very well directed ball to the far post. And maybe it could have been more made of it by Bala.
Stolen by Yuki Soma, who stole the ball in a more dangerous position in the 12th minute of the match to take it away from Bogdan Planic and put it beyond Hamad Al-Mekbali for the only goal. Yuki Soma, the gentleman who scored the final goal when Machida Zelvia won the Emperor's Cup, beating Bissell Kobe, who lost last night in their semi-final.
And here we are back to the long throw barrage that we saw early in the game when Machida were at their strongest as an attacking force. This is one of their main weapons. Don't underestimate it. The long throw in, looking for the head of Tete Yengi.
Here is Kotaro Hayashi's long throw once more. The goalkeeper does well, actually. That wasn't easy.
And then a little cynical block to stop the counter-attack. That's all part of it. That's all part of how they play Machida. He was quickly up on his feet, looking for the throw out, and just standing in his path like, no, you're not going to throw it out. We're not going to let you build that easily. But good goalkeeping, as you said, by Al-Mekbali. He's been impressive tonight. Made a very good save at 1-0 that would have made things a lot more difficult. And he's commanded the box well. He's taken 2 or 3 crosses impressively, as he did there.
Shabab Al Ahli now moves it to Igor Gomez. And here is Cartabia. Breno. There's creativity, so much of it when you look at the Shabab Al Ahli team, and yet you would not know it because of how Machida Zelvia are structuring the game.
Yeah, it's been stifled so far. They've broken up the game really well. Again here, that was, a lot of referees would have given a foul there. This referee, Sean Evans, he has demonstrated in the first half. He has his style of refereeing, is to let the game flow a little bit more. But there, a lot of refs would have given that as a foul. That really does suit Machida Zelvia because they know what they can get away with this referee. Paulo Sosa not happy with it. I think he's just been shown the yellow card for his complaints. But yeah, they've not allowed that creativity that you mentioned of Shabab Al Ahli to shine because they've just broken it up. If a player isn't allowed to settle on the ball, it's hard for him to express what he can do, and they haven't allowed that. And what I think Shabab Al Ahli will need in this second half is the 2 central midfielders, Said and Breno, to match the physicality of Machida, to impose themselves on the game as well, and then allow the creative talents around them to express themselves more. Because at the moment they haven't. They've been outfought. They've been physically outplayed at the moment. Shabab Al Ahli. That needs to change for them to change the momentum of the game and change the structure of the game.
Much for him to be very pleased with so far. Go Kurura, born in the northern city of Sapporo in Hokkaido, the northernmost of the 4 main islands in Japan. Appropriately enough, because it is famous for its snow festival with giant ice sculptures everywhere. He's created rather a career of freezing teams out.
Yeah, certainly frosty to play against them.
Guilherme Bala, that's not a bad ball. Over the top from Sultan Adil, going in search of his first goal in this competition.
Yeah, it was a good ball. It was a good ball to Bala as well. As he made the run down the left, it was precisely played into his path, which allowed him to cut in here onto his right foot. Lovely shape on the cross. Just a little too high, he was stretching. He could only glance it off the top of his head, Sultan, but that's more of what the manager wants to see. Getting the flair players onto the ball in the attacking third.
And they've certainly got some flair players to bring on, should they wish to.
Yeah, well, one surprise, the only change in the starting lineup was Mateo Sao. I imagine that's who you're referring to more than anyone else. And he would be the obvious first change. There's also the Uruguayan Damian Garcia, an attacking midfielder who plays with aggression as well. Might be another change. First, they're going to have to weather this latest long throw.
Here it comes again. And it's with Mai. It's loose and was dangerously put laterally, but they're able to bring it out. They might be able to counter here. Katabia just had it played behind him.
Which is a shame because he was in a great position. Full pass from Bala. He's got to do better there.
Chasing it down is Kawan. Another player who it might be interesting to contemplate is João Marcelo, the young loanee from Atletico Mineiro, who might be involved. He's already scored 2 in 3 in the league. So the options certainly exist for Paulo Sousa to make a change, but to a certain extent you take off creative players who can't find a way through and risk bringing on more creative players who can't find a way through.
Yeah, which is why I highlighted Breno and Said in midfield, in the base of midfield, to start trying to impose themselves. They are both physically imposing. They're both tall, strong players. We've not seen much of them yet, and they need to be the ones in the engine room to start to show Machida that they're not going to back down from them. We're just looking at some of the stats at half-time, weren't we? And one that really caught the eye was the number of tackles made by the two teams. 10 by Machida, none at all by Shabab. That shows that they're not quite at the same level physically in terms of the aggressiveness. And with this referee, you can. He will allow you to play physically. And I think Shabab Al Ahli have got to go toe-to-toe with Machida in that respect in this second half.
Renault wins it, but then it's straight back to a blue shirt, Yengi. Here is Yengi again, but it's taken away from him and pulled back though for a foul, to the displeasure of the Shabab Al Ahli players.
Well, it was exactly what I was talking about. It was Said, who's one of the two central midfielders I pinpointed, saying they've got to be more physical with this referee, you can get away with it, and that's why there's the sarcastic laughter from the coach, because he didn't get away with it this time.
Yuki Soma will try to, one imagines, to get this ball as close to Tete Yengi, the very physically imposing striker. Soma, and it is a good ball. It's actually Hotaka Nakamura who went towards it.
And it was very well defended in the end. It needed to be as well. And it was Said, the man who conceded the free kick. It would have been looked at for offside. I don't think it was, but he did really well there to deny a free header for Hotaka. It would have been a glorious chance.
Yuki Soma. How many times we've said his name? He's been at the heart of everything for Machida Zelvia.
Yeah, he's really epitomised their spirit and their drive, I think. Obviously, he scored the goal, which helps. But the way he's played, so full of energy, so purposeful with everything he's done.
Had his best ever 12 months last season. 34 appearances, 9 goals in the league. Joined the club in 2024 from his first club, Nagoya Grampus.
what Shabab Al Ahli will hope here is that the game starts to open up, as tight games often do around the hour mark. In world football, all over, wherever you watch, after an hour the game can change because tiredness starts to come in, and that's why substitutions will be important on both sides, to inject freshness into the attack for Shabab Al Ahli and to keep the intensity high for Machida. That's so important for them, to play with sharpness, to play with a spark defensively off the ball, and retaining that through the bench will be very important as the game goes on.
And a player to contemplate from the perspective of the Japanese team is Na Sang-ho, their number 10 from the Republic of Korea, who can be nightmarish to play against if you're feeling a little tired.
Yeah, he's endlessly energetic. But we're just starting to see a bit more of Shabab Al Ahli on the ball. They're not creating anything as yet, and he's still looking concerned, but they are taking the ball a little bit closer to the opposing goal. That's Matthias Geisler, isn't it? The coach who will be in the final on Saturday for Al Ahly. No surprise he's here, of course, taking notes.
And wonderfully atmospherically lit as well, just in case he wasn't awe-inspiring enough as a 38-year-old coach who's achieved so much.
He looked like some villain in a crime movie, didn't he, there? The way he appeared from the shadows. Nobody knows I'm here. But yeah, he will be obviously preparing for the eventuality of facing both these teams, but at the moment it's Machida who are heading to face them, and he'll know it's not going to be easy, it's not going to be comfortable.
Giving chase, controlling the ball is Yuri. 10 goals in the league this season. He's been a very big performer for them, but that's not a big ball to Yuki Soma.
No, and Breno, trying to close it down, has taken a clattering into his, was it his neck? I'm not sure exactly where the ball hit him, maybe right in the face, but it was poleaxed from close range. And they know they've been in a physical fight today, don't they, these Shabab Al Ahli players. Here it is. Oh, right into his forehead. Yeah, that was hit with power as well by Soma.
And with just no reaction time possible at all.
Yeah.
No way he could brace himself.
So the first substitution, and it's exactly the player that you highlighted, Ollie. Na Sang-ho coming on to replace Eric, and that's... people might be a bit surprised, thinking, well, they're leading, their focus is going to be defence, surely. But sometimes, always, when you're this kind of team, the first line of defence is the attack. You need freshness up the field to keep pressure on and make it difficult to build out from the back.
There's a chance here, Yuri, and then thumped, and a thump with a sense of hope more than of any expectation.
Yeah, I don't mind it though from Saeed. It was hit with power, and that's exactly what I was asking for from him to be more physical, and that just doesn't mean running into people and clattering people. It means doing things with a sense of aggression. If that means running onto a loose ball and taking on a hopeful shot, hitting it with power, that's all part of that, playing with a sense of aggression. Here's the change, first one from Paulo Sousa, and it's an interesting one. Defender off, forward on. And we'll see how that changes them tactically. Yeah, a few decisions have started to go against Shabab Al Ahli there. There's another foul that's whistled against Bala, and they've got to maintain their composure. We said it in the first half when Machida were given a penalty kick that was then taken away. They responded in the perfect way. They didn't let it affect them. Just a sense that Shabab Al Ahli have getting a bit frustrated now.
So just to confirm for you that Mateus Enrique has come on to replace Bogdan Planic, who we just remind ourselves had that really nasty moment right at the start of the game where he seemed to hurt his ankle, hurt his foot, and then later on took a tough couple of impacts to the head as he collided with his own goalkeeper. So the 23-year-old from Minas Gerais in Brazil has come on.
Yeah, and in between those two physical blows, he had the mental blow of the mistake for the goal as well. Tough game for Planic.
And he'll be more purposeful, Mateus Enrique, down the right flank as this goes towards the back post, and it's cautiously and intelligently defended by Hotaka Nakamura.
Yeah, the substitute Mateus has come on at right back, as you say, and that shifted Igor Gomez into the centre of defence where Planic was. So it is a bit of a reshuffle and more attack-minded as it has to be, of course. And immediately we saw the impact. Neither of the fullbacks had really been able to get forward much in open play today, but immediately Mateus doing so to help win a corner.
Had moments where they've looked quite dangerous from corner kicks, but Ken Shoji doesn't care about that, just thumps it away with his head. But the attack continues. Difficult one, took a touch and gave Corsetani reason to move quickly.
Yeah, and a speculative effort by Yuri Cesar, but the deflection, like you say, made it difficult because it looped up awkwardly and the goalkeeper wasn't entirely sure that it was going to clear the crossbar. So this is a promising little spell for Shabab Al Ahli, 2 corners in quick succession. And it's a good delivery again from Kartabia.
They've got players with physical presence to attack it, but they've also got to deal with defenders who have physical presence, including Tete Yengi, who converts beautifully to centre-back whenever these corner kicks come in. Forward from the back themselves is Henan,
who scored the winner the other day in the quarter-final from the set piece, so he knows his way to goal. He and Saeed among the main targets.
Kartabia, can he find the quality necessary? Again it's Shoji. Again it comes in, and it's in from Guilherme Bala.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, the offside flag is up, and I'm guessing that was for the second touch, not the initial cross, but it was flicked on at the near post after the initial cross, which was a really good one from Yuri Cesar. Obviously, it would be looked at. So when you see here, Yuri Cesar plays it in. He is offside there, actually. So, yeah, pretty good work by the linesman, because that second touch was from a defender, so he was offside, got back onside. Brilliant work by the man with the flag, and that will remain an offside decision.
It is being confirmed. Once again, discussions between Sean Evans and Sivakon Koudom. Well, we've already had one little moment of surprise with a video review today.
Yeah, I said it will stay as a offside. That's what you would expect, seeing Bala there, well offside. Then it touched the defender, which obviously makes anyone onside. You can't be offside when it comes off the defender, but with the initial cross, he was offside. It was a good finish. He was a little bit behind him, and he had to adjust to the deflection. He did that well. Then Mateus has only been on the field for a couple of minutes. He's already feeling the effects of playing against Machida.
And preparing to come on, here is Matteo Sal. And this will surely generate some more creativity, some more unpredictability.
Yeah, we'll see whether he comes on instead of Sultan up front, or to go with him. Is it time to go with 2 through the middle? Looks like Machida preparing their next substitutions as well, and it's going to be a double change, in fact. Mohamed Yuma also coming on. No, make that a triple change, so he's not holding back, is he? Mersad Saifi also going to be entering. So 3 changes, and that just tells you he's already made one a few minutes ago. Now a triple change. Just shows you how this game is going. Looks like one is enforced though, because poor Mateus Enrique, only on the field for a couple of minutes, he's not going to be able to continue.
Now we are going to have some changes as well made by Igor Kuroda, but we'll just confirm these substitutions first.
Yeah, 5 new players on the field all at once.
So Captain Kartabia is departing, and Mohamed Juma will come on. We're also going to say goodbye to Sultan Adil. That was one of the expected changes, with Mateo Sau replacing him. So here is the 21-year-old Brazilian.
Yeah, and then Mateus, who suffered the injury, the substituted just a couple of minutes later, so tough for him.
Now 3 changes coming over on the other side as well. Kia Sento, along with Shota Fujio and Hokuto Shimoda. But not just yet. A lot of changes all coming in one go.
Yeah, and I'm wondering whether Kuroda is thinking, let's just see. No, he is going to make the changes now.
The Neta Lavi, the Israeli, he is replaced by Hokuto Shimoda, the vice-captain, or one of the vice-captains, 34-year-old. Centaur coming on, very experienced player, midfielder. And Tete Yengi is going to be replaced by Shota Fujio.
So that's a straight swap in attack. Another tall player, another big physical presence, not as big as the 6'6" Australian, but he'll look to do the same job, which is to lead the line, to try to occupy the Shabab Al Ahli central defenders and help out defensively.
And there was the first involvement of one of those substitutes. Tough occasion for him.
Yeah, poor Mateus Enrique, who'd been so excited to come off the bench for a continental semi-final, the AFC Champions League Elite. What an occasion for him. They only lasted a couple of minutes. Sport can be cruel sometime, and injuries, one of the worst things that players can experience.
We have just over 20 minutes of normal time remaining in this meeting between Machida Zelvia of Japan and Shabab Al Ahli of the United Arab Emirates, the semi-final of the AFC Champions League Elite. In it comes from Shimoda, dealt with.
It's a strong header away, wasn't it, as it had to be, but I think Machida will be happy with the stoppages we've had in the last few minutes, because Shabab Al Ahli were threatening to build a bit of momentum. Of course, they had that goal, which we almost forgot with the flurry of changes to confirm it was offside against Bala after the review.
Now it is just hooked away by the Shabab Al Ahli team, who are hoping these substitutions are going to really alter the nature of the match. Guilherme Bala doing well, and Shimoda matching him. Great effort from the substitutes.
That's exactly what you want the substitutes to come on and do. Immediately impose themselves in the game. Strong challenge, it was needed because Bala was making a good run. But there's Shimoda saying to his manager watching, "Don't worry, boss, I know what you want me on here for." Flying straight into the challenge.
He won a medal at the World University Games for Japan during his time at Senshu University. Like a lot of the Japanese players, has come through the university system. And before that, the high school system that produced his own head coach. Space. Can he keep it in play? Substitute Saifi comes off at number 88, Nakamura. They're running out of time.
Yeah, but these last 20 minutes of games is often where the goals can come. and they certainly won't be starting to panic yet. There's a long way to go, and the substitutes are, as you said, on to try to make an instant impact.
Igor Gomez will take the throw. Authoritatively played away by Okamura. He's back in and jumping for it was Shota Fujio. He couldn't clear. Here is Juma. To Yuri. Guilherme Bala picks up the loose ball. Who's going to change the game? It might be now. It really might be now. Oh my goodness me, it's been put wide by the substitute, Mohamed Juma.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he missed. It opened up for him, just fell at his feet, and maybe it was just a bit too close to his feet, and he couldn't get a clean strike at it. He seemed to swipe it goalwards, as it just took a couple of deflections. And I think after his first touch, when it fell to him, it was just a little behind him, and he didn't have any backlift, so he had to try and, say swipe was the word I used, but it wasn't a clean shot at all. He tried to turn his body on it, but a bit of a let-off for Machida. There's a yellow card quickly shown to Fujio as well. They're going to have to work hard, but they know that. They're not going to be daunted by the physical challenge that lies ahead for them in the next 20 minutes.
It seems a suitable time to remind you all that Machida Zelvia were a second division team in 2023. And we just remind ourselves of this goal that was not from Guilherme Bala, quite clear.
Yep, despite Fede Cartabia's wagging finger of disapproval. It's clearly offside.
Might be a different story in the Canadian League.
Yes, with the daylight rule. That will change things, won't it? If that gets adopted elsewhere. But this is good from Machida. Committing players forward. They can't only think about defending now.
This is what substitute Na Sang-ho is really good at.
Yeah, Fujio as well, another attacking player who's come on, and Sento is being given some license to join the attack. So that's some positive thinking from Gokuroda.
In comes the throw, and it might be put in. It's not quite. Amazingly, Mekbali keeps it out. Well, that's two what-if moments, one for each team.
One for each substitute as well. It was Fujio who's not been long on the field. And again, similar to the chance at the other end, it just got away from him that time with the first touch, and he hesitated. He went to go with his right foot and then just held back. He might have touched him on the hand as well, didn't it? Which took it out of his stride. Couldn't quite cleanly control the first touch, similarly to Juma at the other end. Juma has moved on to the right back position that Mateus Henrique had briefly come into. Saifi has gone over to the left-hand side, with Matteo Sal obviously going through the middle.
Shoji knocking it away. And that is over the top from Matteo Sal. Minutes and counting. missed, but without great issue by Hotaka Nakamura, who really has had an impressive game, has worked so hard as he always does.
Yeah, if he lasts the full 90 minutes, he'll have done well. That's an interesting pass forward from Bala, but beyond the run. And Matthew Sal. And now the question for Machida is, can they keep going? Can they keep running? They've had to work so hard today. It's a very demanding style of play.
Can they even snatch a goal as Shabab Al Ahli start to commit more to the attack?
Well, they've got the three forwards. It's not as though, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, it's not as though they're just focusing on defence. The two substitutes, Sento and Fujio, forward, along with, well, the third sub who came on a bit earlier as well, Na, all three of them are being given the freedom by their coach, not the freedom, the expectation that they will push forward as well. And that helps to relieve the pressure. You don't want to just sit back and say, okay, you have the ball and attack us. We're not going to bother coming forward. We're just going to defend. Because then it can just become a matter of time until good chances to create it. So it's good to see that positivity being retained.
They are a shining example, as things stand, of a team who has a tactical plan, has belief in that plan, and has the physicality to carry that plan out.
Yeah, and they've won a corner with that plan, with the pressing high up the field. And, you know, they remind me a lot of the Atletico Madrid team of 2014, when Diego Simeone had just taken over. And Barcelona with Lionel Messi at his peak, Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo at his peak. Atletico Madrid won the league that year. They didn't have superstars, but they had a very similar framework to Machida. It wasn't a team of stars, but it was a team of workers that all knew what they were doing, all knew each other's roles, and if one of them was injured or needed a break, off they came and someone else came in, and it didn't matter, it didn't change anything. There's a lot of similarity between the approach. Good from set pieces as well.
Okuto Shimura, the substitute, will curl this inwards. It's going to be a difficult ball to deal with.
Yeah, but he did just about deal with it again. He's been impressive, Al-Makbali, with the balls into the area. He came, he got enough on it to push it away from goal.
Just to go back to that fascinating comparison you were making between Machida Zelvia and Atletico Madrid, a team you know very well from the years you've spent covering them and covering Spanish football. If Machida Zelvia meets Al Ahli Saudi in the final, it will be the ultimate clash, won't it, between a team with so many stars against a team where everyone cohesively does their job very quietly and effectively. Which
brings to mind the Champions League final that Atletico got to against Real Madrid in a very similar clash of styles. And they nearly won, but for a, what was it, 94th minute header from Sergio Ramos.
Here Mibala to Yuri. They're not there yet, but they're acting like a team who knows they're not there yet.
They're playing the same way they have throughout. They're still full of running. The substitutions have helped. You see there, one of the substitutes. That's what I was talking about, the importance of the subs, the freshness in attack, because they stop the build-up play.
But there is danger. Shabab Al Ahli chasing this game, and with the players who can transform it, but not like that. Not like that.
Yeah, it was a disappointing pass. I think it was Matthew Sal who just played it too heavy straight out. They're starting to ask a bit more of the fullbacks coming forward there. We see Kawan Santos, and on the other side, Saifi seems coming on the left-hand side. He's certainly been getting forward a lot, but there's a nice little collage of the expressions on the face of Paulo Sousa. That's been the kind of game he's had to endure. And only 10 minutes left of normal time now, and still they've just had isolated, sporadic attacks. It's by no means relentless pressure. what the relentless pressure is from Machida on the ball, not allowing any kind of easy passing sequences.
Well, the settlement that's known as the Brazil of Tokyo is close to beating this star-studded Brazilian lineup of Shabab Al Ahli, and in doing so, turning themselves from being virtual unknowns in Japan to household names throughout Asia.
Yeah, never mind the rest of the world. Not even in Japan did many people, other than really keen football followers, know who Machida Zelvia were until a few years ago. And that was really typified in that passage of play. As soon as Bala turned, he was met by Shoji, who then continued to run forward, one of the three central defenders, and won the free kick, which has given them this possession.
Na Sang-ho. They've kept it. Shimoda to Na, out to Yuta Nakayama. But now Shabab Al Ahli will try to create something, and what industry from Hiroyuki Mai.
Yeah, he's worked hard doing the dirty work in the central midfield. Talk about that Atletico Madrid team of years ago, going up against all the stars they did. Do you remember the central midfield? Not many people will. It was Gabi and Mario Suarez, and they were the engine room for Atletico Madrid winning that La Liga title. The same job has been done today by Neta Lavi, who's just been substituted with Shimoda coming on, and Mai, with that kind of work and that kind of work, being in that place to just say, right, no danger, we're going to make sure that we're not going to leave our defence exposed.
I would say Neta Lavi and Hiroyuki Mai are the two Machida Zelvia players whose names we said least during their contributions.
And that's not a criticism in any way. As we see the final change, Sayed has not been able to make much impact today, and it's Marcelo.
Yes, young João Marcelo from Atletico Mineiro, his parent club. He joined in January, will be with them until December, and he's made an impact in the league. Number 79, João Marcelo, with 2 goals in 3 matches.
Yeah, we'll see where is he going to play. Looks like from his initial positioning, just off the forward line. But time running out now, and there's not really any imminent sign of a goal at all at the moment. Machida pretty comfortable. I'll tell you someone else whose name we've not really said much, and that's Kosei Tani, the goalkeeper. He was beaten once for a disallowed goal. There was an excellent shot from a counter-attack against the crossbar in the first half from Coan Santos.
Now they've got to deal with this, and
well, there he is.
Yes.
He is on the field, but he's not had much to do, and that is such a great reflection on the work that's taken place ahead of him. Not just by the defence, but the defence has started with the attack. The whole team working as a unit to make life difficult for Shabab Al Ahli. And
another corner one.
Well, exactly, they retain that intent to attack, springing forward to win the corner. Sento, one of the substitutes who's made an impact. The subs were really well timed because it came just as that disallowed goal was ruled out. They're trying to do their bit as well, aren't they? The fans who've made the journey over. It's a fair old journey across from Japan. Looks like they're going to stay for a few more days for the final.
The final taking place on Saturday. Shimoda's ball will again require a decision from Al Mekbali. This one a little more comfortable. He was well positioned for it. Great young goalkeeper.
Yeah, took it cleanly though, didn't he? It was one, you're right, that you would expect a goalkeeper to take, but he did, unfussily. He's been authoritative today, and nothing he could have done for the only goal. But the team attacking at the moment, it's Machida. They're the ones with the more convincing attacking play. And there's just not been a response. Maybe slightly just before the substitutions and the goal that was disallowed, there was more pressure from Shabab Al Ahli, but that hasn't been maintained in any way. And at the moment, they're struggling to get the ball out of their own half. And again, look at that little tackle there, just preventing them from bringing it forward. There's another one there. It's fallen kindly, but they're getting so many contacts with the opposing players.
Well, just in case you were all wondering how it is that in nearly 4 knockout stage matches, Machida Zelvia have conceded not one single goal, they are reminding us in this last portion of the match.
Well, that doesn't happen by coincidence, does it? 3 different teams all trying to score against you, none of them succeeding.
Guilherme Bala, he's gone down. And that's the end of that, it seems.
Yeah, and he's not really complaining, and I think you used exactly the right words. He's gone down. He wasn't forced down. He went down in hope that, yeah, maybe we could be generous to him and say he genuinely did lose his footing. He slipped. I think he perhaps did, but he wasn't even turning to the referee to appeal for a penalty. There, that right foot just does give way, doesn't it? A little bit of dampness on the field now. So no question of a penalty, but the yellow card is shown to someone on the Shabab Al Ahli bench. Won't be the coach, Paulo Sousa. He got one in the first half, so that would have had to have been his second if it was him. And perhaps it was Fede Kartabia, the replaced captain. Yep, so that's how frustrated they are.
It's an agitated bench for the team from Dubai. And that's a good effort from Kawan. Can he change their fortunes? It's a fortunate ricochet, really, to Juma. Juma, who had that extraordinary opportunity right in front of goal shortly after coming on.
And that was the last opportunity they had, wasn't it? There's been nothing since then. But they're still in it. 2 minutes plus 5, 6, you'd imagine, with the substitutions we've had. And, you know, if they can't create something, maybe they can force something. Long throw, flick on.
Igor Gomez, it is a long throw, and it has been flicked on, but it's been cleared to Kawan, who certainly wanted to hit that the moment it came to him.
Well, he hit the bar in the first half, didn't he? From a little bit closer than that, but from outside the penalty area. We know he's got a good strike. But, yeah, he was well closed down. And again, they keep that shape. 5 at the back, 2 protecting just in front, 3 a little further forward.
Breno just slightly misplaces it. It allows Machida Zelvia to move forward a little. They're certainly not sitting back.
Yeah, it's that intent to get 3 of them forward, although this time Fugio has stepped back because he sees that Santos is there and he needs to keep an eye on him, so that's good intelligence from the centre forward. And Shabab Al Ahli are reduced to things like that. A hopeful lump forward up to a centre forward who's a bit isolated, so even though he wins the header, there's no one in the vicinity for him to knock it down to.
So how much time will the team from the United Arab Emirates get? We're going to discover soon. They will be hoping, really hoping, it's several good long minutes. They will feel like very long minutes to Machida Zelvia. And the time will disappear quickly for the team in red. As things stand, it will be an East meets West AFC Champions League Elite final on Saturday.
And it will be Al Ahli playing a Japanese team in the final for the 2nd consecutive year.
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Well, that will be met well by Shabab Al Ahli, but they've got to do something with it. At the moment, they're not threatening.
Now Sang-ho. Intelligently done, calmly done. really impressive game management.
It is, and not just in a negative, cynical sense. They're still taking the game forward. There were 5 players for Machida in and around the penalty area then on that attack. In the 91st minute, when you're leading a semi-final by 1 goal, that takes courage, both from the coach tactically to say, tell the players this is what he wants them to do, but for the players to buy into it as well and say, okay, we're leaving space in behind us, but we believe in what we're doing. We believe in what the coach has instructed us.
Now, there's been a substitution. We'll come back to that in a moment, because more concerningly for Machida Zelvia, there's a chance here. Guilherme Bala has scored a stunner. One all. An incredible goal.
And out of nowhere, it had to take something special to get Shabab Al Ahli back in this game, and that was special. And it was just individual play. There was nothing there for him other than receiving the ball on the left, cut inside, and sometimes great attacking play can overcome great defending. And that was the case here as Bala stepped onto his right foot, hit it speculatively, but with great clean connection. Just wondering if the goalkeeper got a slight hand on it, did he? He might have got his fingertips to it, but not enough. Needed more than his tips, needed the full fingers to push it wide. There was enough power on the ball. And they've got out of jail. Bala to the rescue.
It was almost a stunning save from Corsetani. It's a stunning goal from Guilherme Bala, and it might be a devastating blow for Machida Zelvia.
I love the reaction as he goes to the camera with the calm down sign, as though, yeah, we had a little control. All along, that was never going to be a problem. Not sure what the discussion is on the sidelines here. They've used all their subs, have they? Not sure what the delay is to restart, but we will now, I think.
Well, an absolute sense of deja vu as an outstanding Brazilian solo strike goes in an AFC Champions League Elite semi-final.
Yeah, for a team called Al Ahli. After Galeno's spectacular strike yesterday. I wonder if the complaint from Machida is that the substitution hadn't been completed when play restarted. We saw the sub just coming onto the field. Henry Mochizuki was the man who entered, and just as he came on, the ball was already being played out, so he hadn't had a chance to probably get onto the pitch. So perhaps that is what is being looked at, and that is what the complaints are from Machida. Now you see him, he's not even on the field when play had restarted. So maybe the referee will be instructed here by his VAR assistant, Sivakan Puadom, that he has to go back and allow play to restart. You see there, that was a really great shot of it. Santos took the throw-in before the substitute, Henry, was on the field. And you know that's what he is complaining about, and with some justification. Now, whether the referee will overturn this, whether he can overturn it, is a different matter. It looks like, though, he is going... Yeah, he's going to the monitor. So he will be looking now at the timing that the throw-in was taken. Well, if that's Cartabias being shown a yellow card, it's his second. He's on the bench anyway, so being sent off is... Although it would make him unavailable for the final.
They might not get there because this is a huge review.
So look at Santos taking the throw-in, and look at Henry on the sidelines. He's off the pitch at the moment. So now if they'll go in slow motion, and show there's the throw-in. The substitution hasn't been completed. So really, I do think the referee has to say here, the game was restarted unlawfully. We have to allow them to complete the substitution and restart with the throw-in from that same position. They were making the change, and it's not as though they were unnecessarily delaying the change. They were in the process of completing the substitution, but the throw-in was taken a second or two too early. Really, at that point, the referee should have said, no, stop the game, blow the whistle, the substitution hasn't been made yet.
This is a huge decision. It's been overruled. It's no goal. The substitution had not taken place.
Incredible. I must say, in all my decades of watching football, I don't think I've ever seen that. A goal being ruled out because the preceding substitution a few seconds earlier hadn't been completed. Don't think he's seen it either, and he's off. Carlos Sousa is... for him, that's the final straw. But, you know, there's been a big decision against both teams now, so it's evened it out. Machida, in the first half, had a penalty given and then taken away. And now, sensationally, a goal scored, but ruled out due to an incomplete substitution. Is that the technical term?
Well, it might be the first time it's been used, but the laws are the laws, aren't they? And the replay is crystal clear. The
game can't go on while a substitution is being made. So we've reached the 97 minutes. How many more we're going to have? At least 5, I would think, that it took for that to unfold.
Just when you thought you'd seen everything, Machida Zelvia are still 1-0 up. It's been controlled by Fugio, but it will be an opportunity for Shabab Al Ahli to restart.
Great work by Fugio there, chasing it down in the 98th minute. And now, yeah, desperation times for Shabab Al Ahli, who've got to keep playing the game. Don't play the referee, play the game. You've still got time, you can still have chances. Bala, do it again. You've already fired one in from 25 yards, but stay positive and look for a chance to do something similar.
First time that Machida Zelvia have ever played in any continental competition. They are about to go into the AFC Champions League Elite Final, or are they? No danger this time.
And look at the calmness there of Kotaro at the far post, the left back, seeing that cross come towards him. He could have panicked in that situation and gone, the ball's coming towards me, I've got to clear it. But no, he had the composure to look around him, see that it was travelling harmlessly out of play, and just step away, lift his arms up, walk away, manage the game. That's what they've done so well. And you're saying the first time they played in continental competition, they won the group as well, didn't they? So they are worthy finalists, assuming they get that far. Another card to the bench. Shabab Al Ahli, I don't think regard them as worthy finalists. But yeah, it's been from the start of the competition right till now, it's been business-like, purposeful. They know what they want to do, they know how to do it. They're very, very effective. And here's the substitute who's come on not only to defend, running the ball into the corner flag.
Well, it's undoubtedly the most important substitution that's been made by Machida Zelvia today.
Perfectly timed substitute, you could say.
Is there time left for Shabab Al Ahli in this extraordinary finish to this extraordinary game, as this extraordinary competition is about to reach the final?
Well, Renan has gone forward now. The central defender is playing as an extra striker, just to add another body into the box.
And it's going to be thumped away, to the relief of the Machida Zelvia supporters. There they are behind the goal. And they will be unable to believe what's about to happen. So many of those supporters will remember what will have felt like yesterday, ending 8 years in the second division, mostly flirting with relegation during that time.
And then it was the arrival, wasn't it, of Gol Kuroda that changed everything. What a sensational managerial story his is. The school teacher turned continental champion, perhaps. Certainly continental finalist. Well, not certainly yet. There's time. Long throw coming up from Igor Gomez.
Is it the last chance? Machida this time couldn't fashion a shot. Igor Gomez, it's a heavy challenge from Mochizuki, but play continues. Guilherme Bala.
Yeah, don't give him space, they've learned that. Crowd him out.
The ball surely is going to come in here from Yuri. It does, it's cleared by substitute Hokuto Shimoda. Still, the game goes on. Still, it's not done, and it's over from Matteo Sal.
It's probably done now. I thought when we had the delay for the disallowed goal that another 5 minutes would be added, take us up to 102. We're pretty much there now, so one good goal kick from Kosei Tani. That's all he needs now. Get the ball up to allow your teammates to contest it in the other half and keep the ball there for a few more seconds. That's all they need. Well, that'll do. That'll do to keep them away from goal. He wants the final whistle. We are at the 102-minute mark.
Final whistle, a school bell. He'd settle for anything right now to draw it to a close. He's nearly achieved the fantastical. But still, Shabab Al Ahli chase this game. In it goes again, away it goes again from Hokuto Shimoda. An effective substitution, the vice-captain. Still there is more time, still there is a chance. Can anyone get the shot? It's Henan, forward from centre-back, and from the edge of the area, it is harmlessly wide, agonisingly wide for Shabab Al Ahli.
Yeah, just desperation from Yuri Cesar, who's been, to his credit, the one who's really tried to drive his team forward in the last few minutes. But it's not been enough. They protected their goalkeeper superbly. He's barely had anything to do, has Kosei Tani. And he's the next thing he'll have to do, most probably, after this kick, is walk out for the final on Saturday. But still, we go on.
The high school teacher has taught Asia a lesson. Gol Kuroda's Machida Zelvia are into the AFC Champions League Elite Final with turbulence at the close of play following that disallowed goal. But their achievement is spectacular. Their achievement is barely believable, as are these scenes.
Yeah, and this is where you need the Shabab Al Ahli staff to get involved, pull the players away, can understand why they're frustrated. But the referee was right with the VAR assistant helping him to disallow that goal. The substitution hadn't been completed, and I hope that the Shabab Al Ahli club comes through this with some dignity. But let's focus on Machida. Incredible, truly incredible, beyond what you could create as a work of fiction. And they will be playing in the final, can you believe it? AFC Champions League Elite Final on Saturday.
Well, there was a red card shown somewhere in the aftermath of that, but they don't care. The Machida Zelvia supporters, they have accomplished something that seemed a million miles away several years ago when they were in the Japanese second tier. They are now from second tier to first rate. They're in the AFC Champions League Elite Final. They will meet the champions from last year, Al Ahli Saudi, on Saturday. For at full time at the Prince Abdullah Al Faisal Sports City Stadium, it finishes Machida Zelvia 1, Shabab Al Ahli 0.